Welcome to another scriptural study. Please place your computer screen on full view to ensure you have the opportunity to visualize the scriptural information being shared. And this next point is so important. Please feel free at any time to stop the video to read and further research the scriptural passages being presented in full. And as always, feel completely free to critique the material being reviewed only from a scriptural standpoint, of course, either by replying to the video in the YouTube comments section and/or responding to our email address, which is family1@rogers.com, or on our Facebook page at Michael Shabbat Scriptural Studies. The two big questions we receive every year during this time period are always this: why is it that even when dictionaries, encyclopedias, historical records, and the ongoing archaeological evidence reveal year after year that the winter solstice time period is indeed immersed in the ancient traditions of men, why would the world still be so devoted to them in this so-called modern era? And the second question is this: even though it has been proven beyond doubt that the world religious winter solstice celebrations are not scriptural in any shape, form, or manner, why would people still feel such a desire to be so devoted to them? In this scriptural study video, we will attempt to share and reflect why my wife and I were so devoted to it up until the year 2000. And we will utilize simple dictionary definitions to explain it. There are indeed reasons why the thoughts of our Father in heaven are not like the world's thoughts, and why the world's ways are not like our Father's way, as we can read in the book of Yeshayahu or Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8, etc. Because many are now realizing in a gallows humor fashion that Christmas and the associated world's holy days that surround the associated traditions of men may indeed be part of a widespread worldwide cult. So in this scriptural study, we will explore if this time of season supports various cults under the guise of Christmas, and if it is true that this time of season requires a spurious devotion from its participants. The reason and intent of this scriptural study is not motivated to change anyone, as this scriptural study will prove beyond doubt. Because if you are already spuriously devoted to the man-made traditions of Christmas that are totally non-scriptural, the information in this presentation will very likely be irrelevant to you. No, the true scriptural intent of this scriptural study is to share a journey of a married couple who became parents that want to apologize to their children and family in a heartfelt manner for not coming out of this spurious devotion to the cults of Christmas not until the year 2000. Because when my wife and I first became parents, we wanted to do our best for our children. And as such, we chose the scriptures to be our guidebook. We had a desire to become great parents. And as such, we decided that we would honor our parents for their dedication in sharing the importance and value of truth. As such, we felt it necessary to further explore what is truth and nobility based on the example set by our parents. But it started to alarm us greatly that the world, it seemed, had no desire to teach our children about the truth, let alone nobility. But rather, the world seemed to have such a drive to teach our children everything else, as long as it had nothing to do with the word as recorded in Scripture. And as long as it was associated to the world's religious winter solstice celebration of lights, well, that was just okay. It seemed, anyways, with the education system. Our kids would come home from school learning nothing about the true events and time period of the Messiah and his birth, but only the globalized pagan traditions of men as it relates to all cultures and world religions with their Festival of Light celebrations during the annual winter solstice time period. Don't take my word for it. Please, for yourself and the well-being of your family, investigate the winter solstice origins of Christmas, Hanukkah, Diwali, Kwanzaa, Bodhi, etc., and why they all take place during this time of year. So having the desire to be great parents, we wondered immensely on just why does every culture spend so much time, money, and effort on the traditions of men during the winter solstice that are so heavily immersed in the occult. We started to learn that what we were taught as children was a lie as related to the events and time period that surrounded the Messiah and his very birth. It eventually became known to many, and to us, that the incorrect and non-scriptural term Christ and its meaning meant anointed. Take a look at all of these past man-made deities, all through time, that were considered anointed as well, and that their birthdays were all on December 25th. This is why the proper term, which is the Messiah, means, quote, the anointed one of Yah, end of quote. Then and only then did we learn the true name of the Father and the Son, and finally realized why the winter solstice man-made deity celebrations all through time have nothing to do with Yahuwah, our Almighty Father in heaven, and his Son, the Messiah, Yahushua. We learned that the greatest gift as parents we could share with our children was the name which is above all names. Because our parents always taught us to never accept second best, but to always explore continuous improvement in everything we did, and that our journey as a married couple would be better served together on a path of following scriptural foundations of truth. By not accepting second best, that the world and its world religions are always willing to promote and offer during the winter solstice time period, we had finally found a path to true peace and joy. And it has nothing to do with these false deities. So in time, and with this knowledge in hand, my wife and I struggled in sharing the lies that we were given in our youth about the Christmas season to our children. We believed our children did deserve much better than second best. As parents, we were slowly learning that the winter solstice time period, known as Christmas today, had nothing in common with Scripture and or the true Messiah and his birth. We then realized as parents our duty was to ensure our children were introduced to the one true Messiah as written in the very word, and not some fictitious character even the kids knew already wasn't something to be trusted. And besides, as a married couple, we asked ourselves, isn't it our responsibility to do our best to develop children of character rather than children of entitlement? We searched the Word. We searched our hearts and asked, does the Christmas time period help to produce children of character and or children of entitlement? Is the world a better place due to the age-old cults of Christmas and the spurious devotion to them? And really, does anyone actually do Christmas, or does Christmas do you? Has the age-old winter solstice world religious celebrations helped the world financial system, and or is it helping the cause further with crisis situations for you and your families here and now and into the future? Yes, there is good reason why this scriptural study video is an apology to our children and other family members. Because again, it was not until the year 2000 that my wife and I fully ceased our participation in the cults of Christmas, along with the spurious devotion we had to it way back when. So, is Christmas truly part of a worldwide cult system? And does the world have a spurious devotion to it? Can a simple dictionary help us in educating ourselves on what a cult is? First, take a look at these pictures. Well, as we can see from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a cult is a formal religious process of veneration, which simply means worship. A cult is a religion regarded as unorthodox and spurious. Remember the word spurious, as we will come back to this later. Notice what this worldwide cult venerates. with spurious devotion during the winter solstice. Think. Did they actually utilize Christmas trees with ornaments at the birth of the Messiah? Is the Messiah a baby? Or is he King of Kings? Or is the cults of Christmas during the winter solstice about something else entirely? The word worship is also defined in an action when reverence is offered to a divine being, or a make-believe supernatural power. Worship is also known as an act of expressing such reverence with a form of religious practice with its creed. In fact, people who worship within the cults of Christmas during winter solstice show an extravagant respect or admiration for or devotion to an object and or objects of esteem, as we can easily observe through archaeological excavations year after year through the millennia up to this very day. Again, from the definition of many dictionaries, the word cult is consistently considered a religion regarded as unorthodox or considered spurious from its body of adherents. Notice what spurious means. The word spurious defines the cults of Christmas so well during the winter solstice time period. The definition of this word speaks volumes through the millennia of an illegitimate birth, and history and archaeology records the proof of the many illegitimate births of the many man-made deities on the pagan day of December 25th. But these bastards, as per the very dictionary definition, have nothing to do with the one true Messiah. Remember, the adversary counts on us being ignorant. It is why he can create and install something without having genuine qualities, and as such he has deceived the whole world by forging a false and erroneous deity and or deities in an attempt to replace the one true Messiah. It's no wonder, then, that Scripture reveals that the world religions in this world are not considered noble and or truthful. Remember, our children are not stupid. Let's not help the world dumb them down any further. They eventually will learn the truth in this so-called information age, so let us all stop lying to them out of the gate, so to speak. Let us show respect and love for them by being truthful. But the pressure remains enormous for many, even when they find out that what they are doing is part of a cult that requires spurious devotion. As an example, even after I learnt some of these truths about the spurious devotion to the cults of Christmas, I still pack my wife and kids in a car during the most dangerous time of year on the roads, and at the very risk of their lives, to make an 8-hour-plus trip home to the family for Christmas. This is why this scriptural study video is not intended to teach anyone anything, because it is an apology to my kids and family for taking such risks when I knew better. Shame on me. And besides, where in Scripture does it reveal that the cult of Christmas is a suggested time of year of gathering for anyone? Scripture promotes the gathering of its set-apart believers 3 times a year, as we can see from these scriptural verses, and they are not based on man-made traditions, man-made rituals with the associated expense behind them, but rather the way of Yahuwah. Looking for more peace for free? Yes, the truth can set you free from all of the craziness and chaos produced with the cults of Christmas. But be forewarned. Remember, the definition of the word cult, in which it reveals that a cult is a system of religious beliefs and rituals that its adherents are extremely devoted to. So what does the word devotion mean? Well, again, dictionaries consistently share that the meaning of the word devotion as being religious with the act of devoting time, money, and energy. and or the state of being ardently dedicated and loyal to a cause. Do we have examples in this world where people are being ardently dedicated and loyal to a cause that is associated to the cults of Christmas during the winter solstice year after year? Yes, we have many examples, and they are very easy to find, aren't they? In fact, there are 7 world religions with 29 different man-made holy days between the pagan Gregorian dates of November 1st to January 15th annually, where people are ardently dedicated to the devotion of the cause of the cults of Christmas during the winter solstice time period. Don't be surprised then if you actually are still imprisoned in one of these cults of Christmas, because history has proven that the cults of Christmas have existed for centuries and well before the first coming of the Messiah, much to the surprise of many. Do a simple study on the bishops of Christ, or Christos, from Alexandria, Egypt, who existed well before the first coming of the Messiah. The false man-made deity of Christ and or the other anointed, just like the various make-believe things this world ensures you are devoted to annually, have been repackaged in various forms for the masses for centuries. Thankfully, when I learned that there were people who truly cared for my well-being and the well-being of my family, who understood the origins of the traditions of men, then and only then did we stop being so devoted to this spurious cult system. Think about it. There are not too many antichrists during the Christmas winter solstice time period. I'll say this again. There are not too many antichrists during the Christmas winter solstice time period. Why? Isn't it true that there are flocks of self-proclaimed atheists who claim they are not religious, but they physically and financially show a spurious devotion to the Christmas cults by dedicating their time, money, and energy to this annual cause? Imagine there are real, actual people who are part of the FFRF that still even celebrate Christmas to this day with the putting up of Christmas tree lights and the purchase and exchanging of gifts, just like the Roman Catholic Pope does. And then these same people, just like some of my family members, have the gall to state outright that they are not religious and are part of the cults of Christmas with a spurious devotion to the traditions of men during the age-old winter solstice celebrations. It's truly a great example of repetitive, bizarre behavior being exhibited year after year, especially when these same people know anyone can read the definitions of what this is in a dictionary. So, as shared based on the definitions of certain words in dictionaries, there are very few antichrists during the winter solstice time period. But oh, how regrettable it is that there are multitudes of anti-messiahs all through the millennia during winter solstice that now make up the cults of Christmas. Please, don't be deceived as we were into the wonders of falsehood as we read in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 9 through 10. Just open up a dictionary. This stuff is not complicated, and you know it. So, what is worse? Being an antichrist, who is an individual who is against and or adversarial towards the cults of Christmas and the spurious devotion to it, or are you an anti-Messiah, who is an individual who is against and are adversarial towards the scriptural appointed times of our Father in heaven, Yahuwah himself? So is your tree and its foundation rooted in the pagan roots of the cults of Christmas? And do you have a spurious devotion to it still? Or is your tree and its foundational roots based on our Almighty Father in heaven, Yahuwah himself and his Son, the Messiah Yahushua, in which this belief will grow strong in the way and as such will be an overflowing of thankfulness and joy. Because, as everyone knows, the cults of Christmas are not known for their thankfulness. But hey, what did you think you would get from worshiping the various man-made sun gods who were all born on the pagan day of December 25th, who represent the cults of Christmas, which demand a spurious devotion every winter solstice time period? And of course, this then will be no surprise as to what the definition of the word religion reveals. It is indeed a system of control based in unchallenged dogmatic belief which holds back the progress of consciousness. World religions imprison the brain for a reason, because people who promote them want to ensure scriptural truth will no longer be valued. Because you very well know, if you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes a religion, and a world religion as we can see based on any dictionary and its definitions. So let's stop treating our children like they're idiots, because they're not. And let us all join the quest of developing children of character and not entitlement. Let us all allow scriptural truth to take over. It can set you free from so many things the cults of Christmas offer with their annual spurious devotional demands. Because the cults of Christmas are a call to worship a man-made deity, and it is venerated as a baby whose birthday is on the pagan day of December 25th. Just like the rest of the man-made deities with the same birth date. The Messiah Yahushua is not to be worshipped as a baby year after year. He is sovereign of sovereigns, and nowhere in Scripture does it state to celebrate his birth as man does under the traditions of men. And really, who is truly not aware today that it has been proven beyond doubt that the Messiah was not born anywhere near and around the pagan date of December 25th? And again, for all those folks who are self-proclaimed atheists, and to those who profess and constantly pontificate that they are not religious, and that the cults of Christmas have nothing to do with religion, please do your best this year to try not to bow down at the Christmas tree to pick up your gifts. And please do not put so much time, effort, money, and spurious devotion to the traditions of men, because this is the simple fact from a dictionary on what a spurious religion actually is. And if you think about it further with just a little honesty, all of this is quite embarrassing. The cat is out of the bag. People do indeed know better. It's not a secret anymore that Christmas is indeed part of a spurious devotion to a worldwide winter solstice cult system. Yes, indeed. This is a cult of huge proportions. So it is definitely not surprising that all world religions, along with the world's financial institutions, support the cults of Christmas with a spurious devotion every year during the winter solstice. So, for all of those who will respond with hate mail to this scriptural study video presentation, thank you for proving that this then obviously was not for you. Because, and as shared, this scriptural study video is an apology to our children and other family members for the risks we took with their well-being here and now, and for risks towards the possibility of the gift of eternity. We are so sorry for being exceedingly stupid, as it was not until the year 2000 that my wife and I fully ceased our participation in the cults of Christmas and the spurious devotion we had to it way back when. Scripture, let alone history, is very clear about the cults of Christmas and where they originate from. do your diligence, and just read the Scripture. So as loving parents, are you going to bet your and your children's soul on Rome's Christ Mass? So if you like to gamble, this approach then will be like playing Russian roulette with really bad odds. Are you at enmity with the world? And or are you at enmity with the Almighty Father in heaven, Yahuwah himself? Answering this scriptural question will help you to determine if you are indeed an Antichrist, who is an individual who is against and or adversarial towards the cults of Christmas and the spurious devotion to it, or to determine if you are an anti-Messiah who is an individual who is against and or adversarial towards the scriptural appointed times of Yahuwah. And yes, we still believe that there are a few people left that are not aware of these truths, and that this information can be overwhelming when first introduced to it. So please, let us not kid each other anymore and or dumb down our children about the traditions of men during the winter solstice. Because the cults of Christmas in this world today will indeed spuriously devote themselves once again by partying just like the age-old cults of the Celts did. If you do not have a love of the truth scripturally, you then indeed are bound and imprisoned by the traditions of men. At least, this is what the Word teaches. One last bit of information, that some people in the set-apart belief of the way of Yahuwah do not consider as coincidence. There is a word of French origin known as Noel. It means Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas. We find it telling that the proper title for Yahuwah is El, which means Mighty One and Strength. The additional title Eloah is a singular form of Elohim, which is plural for Mighty Ones, as in the Father and Son. Notice the cult of Christmas term Noel. Yes, indeed, no Almighty One, no El. It's just another great example that the silly season of the cults of Christmas want nothing to do with the Father Yahuwah and the Messiah Yahushua. We continue to pray in the name which is above all names that these scriptural study videos provide value to you and your loved ones. Continue to feel free in critiquing these videos only in a scriptural manner, of course, by responding to the notes in the YouTube section and or our email address and or our Facebook page. So until next time, Yahuwah willing, all the best in the name which is above all names.